Hello and welcome to Cooper Standard's Introduction to the new NSF Online 2.0. We have muted all participants and will unmute at the end of the webinar for questions. Please feel free to enter any comments into the chat box at any time and we'll answer those at the end of the webinar. We will be recording this webinar and we'll share it with users afterwards in case there are folks who missed yesterday or today's session or anyone that might need a refresher or reminder in the future. I know many of you, but for those who I don't know, my name is Christy Shields and I'm the manager of our corporate accounts team. We're really excited to bring you to the clean and new look and feel of NSF Online 2.0. You may have already noticed a new NSF Online landing page, seen here. This was created on Friday to prepare us for a change to version 2.0. Currently, there's only one corporate user for Cooper Standard that is set up with access to version 2.0 for some testing. All other users right now, even using this new logon page, will still be directed to the classic version of NSF Online. In January, users will be routed to the new NSF Online 2.0 for Cooper Standard. Because we know how challenging changes are and how difficult it can be sometimes to get used to a new system, we wanted to still give the users the ability to switch back and forth from the new platform to the old platform for several months while we're adjusting to the change. One of the really big benefits of why we did this change to update it is to keep up with technology. As you can see on this screen, we have buttons so that we can notice that we can get apps available in Google Play and the App Store. So our new platform is mobile device and tablet friendly. It's a really cool feature. If you're in a pinch at a location, you don't need to pull out your laptop to access information. You have it right at your fingertips on your phone. Now I'm going to show you a little bit of what NSF Online 2.0 has to offer. This is our landing page for all Cooper Standard accounts right now. This is an alert page, very similar to NSF Online Classic, but you can see that the look and feel is quite a bit different with a nice clean white background here, a few more colors and interesting things to look at here. We have our basic contact information for our program reps and our sales reps. We have our announcements here, which will alert us if there are any new announcements. You can see here it says 0 because all of our announcements are already viewed. However, if there was a new announcement, it would give a count for you. One of the newer ones that we've seen up here is a new IATF 16949 upgrade planner and Delta checklist is now available. This version highlights a few things that we've noticed have been missed previously when clients make submittals, such as evidence. Full evidence is required with the submittal of the Delta checklist. Also, some of the remote support location relationships and when their audits take place. So if you haven't seen that, this is a good thing to check out as well, and it's also available in the classic view. While we're up in this menu here, I want to point out how you get back to the classic view. As I mentioned before, during the transition for the first several months, we do have the ability to select this classic view and get back to NSF Online Classic, and then again switch back to the 2.0 view. So we have that flexibility where we don't want anything to be stopped in this new process, so we want to make the transition as easy as possible for you. One of the great perks to this new platform is there's a lot of information available at our fingertips, and we are a lot more flexible in building and customizing what things that you want to see, and that what we can report out and view, and things are a lot easier to be searched. We've also added a few new features, and we can continue to build on that based on what Cooper Standard needs. So one of the great things here is that Cooper will be some of the first users to be turned on in 2.0 in January. So that gives you the benefit of seeing this new system, being able to provide us with feedback so that we can customize it to make sure it's a valuable tool for you in your day-to-day business. One of the new features is our snapshot feature. So we can click on this 3-line here next to the name and get to our menu. If we look at the snapshot, we can design snapshots based on your views in the system. So views are what kind of information you want to look at, whether it be a list of your pending corrective actions or a list of your unscheduled audits. We can then take that data and build it into a visual here. So here we just have an example of our audits that have kind of pass or fail, or our corrective actions based on approved, pending, and submitted. So you just kind of get that nice visual for you there. Just to kind of orient you to this menu section, we have this arrow back. That's our back button that takes you to the previous page. Also, we have this green bar here, which is what we call our views. So again, we can set up many different views for you, and that will be shared by those throughout all of our users, or we can customize based on your needs what views we want to see for you. We can also set this snapshot page as the home page, so you can really customize how you want your page to appear when you log in. Another really great feature is that we can have users create snapshots themselves. We can have users create views themselves. So I'll give you an example here to create a new snapshot. We can title it, select a layout, restrict visibility to it. We're able to customize it where we can create new views specifically for yourself, or if you're involved in a particular business unit, product group, or whatever it is, we can make it available to certain users. So you can choose which users you would like to allow it to be viewed. Or you could simply say, I really just want this to be viewed for me. I don't think anyone else would benefit from that. And then we could create the snapshot. So once we do that, then we really start building our chart. We can decide from varying options if we want it to be a pie chart, line chart, and then start building into our data really and what we want it to look like. We can build based on audit corrective actions, and this is actually pulling from our views to say, well, which view do you want to show here? So here we'll say corrective actions, which show all of them based on a particular audit type standard, and the data value could be status, percentage, number of records, and then we even can give you a little bit of fun options to decide how we really want it to look. We can display labels and export. So it's as easy as that to create a new view for you. So it's something that hopefully that this can be beneficial to you, and you can always export it or download it, something that you might want to include in a presentation for your organization, or just kind of a snapshot of where you're at. Going down the menu, we already saw our alerts page. We can also get back to our default page by just clicking on the Cooper Standard link there. So if we ever want to get back to our default page, that's where it will kind of take us. Then let's look at our sites. So I've created a couple of custom views here in our webinar yesterday, but it can default to whatever you like it to be. So I'll just look at all facilities now. You'll see this star next to the title, and that is how you set the default. So if you want to when you select the site menu, you want to see a particular search result, you can set that star and it says view has been marked as default. So it'll always take you there once you go to the site menu. So this one will give you a little bit more example here, where I've created some custom views here myself. So that way you know how customizable it can be. So we can then just go to that search and find that information. So the views is really, if you find yourself, usually it's a corporate user, doing the same type of searches over and over and over again. We don't want you to have to repeat those searches every time you log in. So in this case, we can kind of create those searches as a view, and then you just click on one link and you're there, rather than having to search for it every time. All of the search results are very similar in the features that we have. So every time you see this lookup in these boxes here, in these columns, that's called a filter field. And what we can do with that is start typing in that filter field, and it will direct you to exactly what you're looking for in there. So that's really helpful, so you can drill down without having to search in anything. We also have, of course, our sorting, ascending, descending, choosing the columns that we want to see, and additional filter criteria. I find these filter fields very useful and almost don't even need to do searches. But sometimes the more facilities you have as a corporate user, the more information you need to sift through, and advanced searches are a little bit more helpful there. So let's take a look at the advanced search here. So this just kind of gets us more into digging down, sorting through our facilities, or creating views. So what I did to create a different view is maybe I want to say I want to see all Mexico facilities in a particular view, rather than to have to search or filter for them every time. So I'd enter a country there and select search, and that populates my results. But I don't want to have to do that every time. I want to eliminate as many clicks as possible. So I will say save as view, save search criteria as new view, yes. So then I can customize my own view. Here I'll label it Mexico Facilities. I can even make this an alert, which is really nice, because then if you log in on your alerts page, that's your default page, you can, boom, click on Mexico Facilities, and you really eliminate the number of clicks you have to do. You can even choose what color that you want to make your alert appear. Define any other search criteria. Right now we just have Mexico. There's a few more fields down here. We could search by contact name. It allows us to really be flexible in the columns even that we're showing. So sometimes the site code, that's really it's an NSF code, and you might not care to see that in your view. So we can move that back over, and you don't have to see that. Or maybe division name, you want to see that, so we'll put that over. Or postal code, not sure how often you look at postal codes in NSF Online, so we can move that over as well. Additionally, the columns are flexible so that we can move the order. So however you want to see them on your screen, we can update that, where the top field name is the far left column, and the bottom field name is the rightmost column. You can decide how you want to order this. So we could order this by city and sort ascending. And again, we can restrict visibility. If you want to create this only for yourself, make it visible to all Cooper users, or only certain users or certain groups. We can create the view based on that. So you can see then, this Mexico Facilities has been added to the My View views, and I can select that as a menu option, or even select it as a favorite here. You can see that we understand how important it is for you to not only be able to view this information, but download this information. So we have PDF, export Excel, and print available on every screen. And then anytime you want to edit your view we can select edit and go back into that screen to edit our views. Say we decide, no, actually we really want that postal code, let's change that. And okay, division, yeah, we don't need that after all. So we'll remove that and update that, and it will update the columns as appropriate. And you can also create a new view here, fresh, without going to search first. I'll kick us back to the alerts page, where you can see that now Mexico facilities are appearing on our alerts page that I just added and created. So again, this is something that we wanted to make really flexible to be what you want it to be, so you can use it and you'll find value in it. So I'll go to one of my Mexico locations, and once you drill into a location, you can find all the information in regards to that facility. So here, it's not appearing on the Google Maps probably because of a geolocation information. Some of our international facilities, Google Maps basically works on, if you can search it in Google and you can pinpoint in Google, it's got a geolocation, and so we can find it on a map. So we might just need to change some of the international addresses if you would want to see it on a Google map. But it would show you all of the recent activities at that location, what audit types it was, the audit reports, you can view those. If they're corrective action reports, you can view those. You can drill into the audits on a unique page, and then also view your certificates for that facility, kind of right within that facility. So if we go to our Audits tab, very similar to the Site tab where it has the views as well. So we've designed several different views that might be beneficial, where we have scheduled audits, completed audits, unscheduled audits, just to pinpoint some things better. And we can also, again, customize those views however you want. Again, you'll see these magnifying glasses, and we can filter based on those if you're looking for a particular location. Once we filter to what we're looking for, we could select our audit code, that's our audit number, and that will really take us to that particular audit, provide us the details of the audit type, the auditor, the audit date, durations, if there's an audit report yet, if there's a corrective action report, those would be available. The contact information, so that way we can keep that up to date, so you can see that. Here, this one didn't have any corrective actions. Then we can always use this back button here to go back to the previous screen. Also on this audit page, it does give a nice snapshot of any car statuses too. So if you're looking for kind of a health of where you're at in terms of that, you can see what's still pending or additional information requested. We can also go directly to corrective actions rather than drilling into the facility, the audit, then the corrective actions. If you know that information of what you're looking for, we can go by facility number if those are at the top of your head, or if you specifically know locations, we could enter that and then drill down into those corrective actions and view the corrective action reports here. We did not change the corrective actions other than really the look and feel. It's still very similar to what you've seen in the old NSF Online. We didn't want to complicate things. However, as we get all of our users into NSF Online 2.0, we would like to improve on this and make it more customizable. One of the things with the classic NSF Online is we couldn't customize the needed responses down here based on standard. Basically all of ISR had to have the same information. Now we'll be able to customize it to really get into Do we need a corrective action plan? Do we need implementation? Do we need preventive action? What are those things? So we'll work towards that as we get all users in the system. But still, there's mandatory fields that it requires you to enter, the upload for uploading your evidence and describing that, and then you could save if you're not quite ready to submit yet, or if you're ready to submit, you would submit that. It would change to pending status, and NSF would get notified that would get changed to submitted status, and then we would get notified to review that information. If you're specifically looking for certificates, again, instead of having to drill into a specific site for the certificate, you could go directly to your certificates and search by whatever information you need to obtain that information as well. Again, if you're commonly looking for certain certificates, maybe you are only responsible for EMS. Then we could set up a view where we want to only see EMS certificates. So let's look at here. We just want to know, have you been upgraded yet? Who's been upgraded? Who's been not? Let's search here, and we could say, okay, these are all the locations that have the standard, but these 2 locations are the ones that have certificates already for that. So we could save that search and say yes, and again, go through those steps to create a view here. So we want to really have everything be flexible so you get to what you want. If you don't want to see everything, you don't have to see everything. Reports. This isn't something that's set up for Cooper Standard just yet, but we will be having the option to have a little bit more data analytics view based on a program called Tableau. If you're not familiar with it, it's just a nice way to kind of slice and dice some data to make it a little bit more visual. So we'll be building a few charts to show, I believe it's top 10 nonconformances by clause. So that could be something that could be used throughout Cooper to say, these are the trends we're seeing throughout Cooper. How can this benefit all of the facilities with that information? So we're really just trying to give you the information that we have to help you run your business. We'll be able to customize some of these as well. These reports are a little bit more specific by each client, so that's why we'll be creating those more on an individual basis rather than across all clients. So if we have something in particular in mind that we want to build, we can certainly look at that. I think another one was audits distributed over the year. So when are you kind of audit heavy? Are you more audit heavy in the spring or the fall? And then you can work through a transition or a strategy of maybe you want to spread your audits out a little bit more through the year. The next menu option is financial, so where we can invoice, and you can see payment history here. There's also a service request option where we can send, this sends an email to the Cooper account manager, Nicole Perez. And then there's an administrative feature where if you have an administrative role within NSF Online, then you can actually manage users and create new users. So I think at this point I've gone through kind of all the different menu options. So we'll check to see if there are any questions that have come up in the chat box, and then unmute everyone so that if there are questions, we will be able to answer them. So I don't think we've received any questions in chat. Does anyone online have any questions? I think you should all be unmuted, so we can give it a try. So I don't hear any questions, but if you do have any, you think of any after, or you're maybe wondering how we can customize certain views, please feel free to reach out to myself, Christy Shields, cshields@nsf.org, or your account manager, Nicole Perez. Her information is on the screen right now. As a reminder, this will be going live in January. So this is just kind of a sneak peek for you to kind of hopefully get you excited to use NSF Online 2.0. We're really excited to share it with you. We want to prepare you. Again, in case you forget this happens in January and you log in, see this, and don't remember how to get somewhere, you can always bounce back to the classic view and then bounce back to 2.0 just to kind of refresh your memory of where you need to dig into some things. If there are no further questions, again, this was recorded, so we'll be sending it out after for those who missed it, or if you want a refresher. And I think that takes care of everything. We really appreciate your time. Have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. And thank you very much. Take care.